Good morning and welcome to the Morning Report. Today we're diving into one of the heaviest headlines on the planet right now, the announcement of a peace deal, or more precisely, the first phase of a peace deal between Israel and Hamas. That's right, the war that has defined headlines, destroyed lives, and destabilized an entire region is now, at least for the moment, being paused under a deal hammered out under enormous pressure. President Trump has announced that Israel and Hamas have signed off on the, quote, first phase, end quote, of a plan meant to bring calm to Gaza. But as always, the story isn't the announcement, okay? It's what happens in the morning after the ink dries that matters. So today, we're not just going to parrot the bullet points of the deal, we're going to walk through what's actually in it, why it's happening now and why it might collapse tomorrow, and what peace really means in a region where the word has been used more often than it's actually been lived. Let's get this started. To understand the weight of this announcement, we have to go back. Most of 2025, the war in Gaza has been brutal. We've seen relentless strikes, thousands of civilian casualties, and entire neighborhoods flattened. So back in January, there was already a ceasefire deal. Remember? The one that was celebrated, televised, and described in similar language to what we are hearing right now. It was also structured in phases. It included prisoner exchanges, temporary troop withdrawals, humanitarian aid corridors. Sound familiar? That January deal collapsed in less than 2 months. By March, Israel was bombing Gaza again, claiming Hamas had violated terms. Hamas was firing rockets back, claiming that Israel had never honored its commitments. International mediators, Qatar, Egypt, the United States were all horrifically embarrassed, but nobody was surprised. So now we find ourselves again in October with another deal, another first phase, another moment where diplomats line up at podiums, where soldiers reload their weapons in the background. This time, though, the White House is pressing hard. President Trump has called this a major breakthrough, a vindication of his hands-on diplomacy, and a sign that the U.S. can once again be the broker of peace. Let's be honest. Every American president since Carter has tried to own Middle East peace. They all ended up realizing that the hard part isn't getting signatures. The hard part is keeping them from tearing the paper up as soon as somebody throws the first stone. Okay, so what's in this first phase? Let's break it down clearly, point by point, because it's the only way to know what matters. Write this down. First, Israel agrees to pull back its troops to an agreed line inside Gaza. Now, the details matter. Pull back doesn't mean withdraw entirely, okay? It means repositioning. Instead of full occupation, Israel will move forces back to a line that has been negotiated, one that leaves it short of Gaza City, but still inside the territory. For Israel, that's a way of saying, hey, we're not leaving you alone, but we'll ease up on the pressure. So. Second, Hamas has agreed to release the remaining 20 living hostages. There are some of the most high-profile individuals held since the war began. Their return would be enormously symbolic, both for Israel's domestic politics and for the global narrative. Every hostage video, every rumor about their condition has been political dynamite. Securing their release allows Israel to claim a victory. and give Hamas something to bargain with. Now, these hostages have been a sort of a thorn in Netanyahu's uh, side since the beginning of this. Uh, the hostages' relatives are in the news every week. There are protests going on every week blaming Netanyahu because those folks have not been released yet and keeping this thing going longer. So this is an important part for Israel's domestic politics. Third, a prisoner exchange. This part always stings. Hamas has demanded and apparently secured the release of a significant number of Palestinians held in Israeli jails. Some are political detainees, some are minors, some are convicted terrorists. Israel has never liked the optics of these swaps, but the pressure to get hostages home usually wins out. Remember the past deals that have seen like one Israeli soldier exchange for over 1,000 Palestinian prisoners? The ratio always seems lopsided because it is. The political value of a single citizen coming home outweighs the numbers on paper. Fourth, humanitarian aid. Trucks of food, fuel, water, and medicine will be allowed into Gaza in greater numbers. Israel has agreed to open more crossings. Aid agencies are cheering, but the details matter here too. Will fuel really flow at the levels that restore power? Will water systems be repaired? Will hospitals actually see the medicine they need? Or will shipments get blocked at checkpoints? Or will Hamas take those shipments and keep them from the people that they need to go to for political reasons? On paper, it looks like relief. On the ground, we don't know what it is. That's the meat of it. Troop repositioning, hostages out, prisoners exchange, and aid delivered. Here's the thing. All of this is temporary. None of this is the final deal. This is not a treaty. This is phase one of a truce that at best buys weeks or months of quiet.
I just want to give a major shout out to my friends at 7 Weeks Coffee. They have now donated $1 million to pro-life pregnancy centers across the country. This has translated into serving thousands of moms, saving thousands of babies, and all of you out there who buy your coffee from 7 Weeks, you have allowed your coffee to serve a higher purpose. You know that 10% of every sale of 7 Weeks Coffee goes to these pregnancy centers, and now $1 million, $1 million life-saving dollars have been donated because of the work of 7 Weeks, and I am just so grateful for it. So thank you, 7 Weeks, for all of the work that you do, and to God be the glory.
So a lot of us want to know, why now? Why does this deal exist today and not 6 months ago? Or not 6 months from now? First, politics. Yes. President Trump needs a foreign policy victory. His administration has been talking tough about ending these endless wars. And what better example than brokering peace between Israel and Hamas? It would be a feather in his cap. Well, at least for now. Second, Israel is under enormous domestic pressure. I mentioned this a second ago, because Prime Minister Netanyahu is fighting for his political life. He has been hammered by critics for the cost of the war, not just in money, but in young soldiers' lives. Israeli families want their hostages home. The economy is hurting. The protests in Tel Aviv are getting louder. Agreeing to a partial pullback and a hostage release gives Netanyahu a way to calm the storm a bit, even if it's only temporary. Third, Hamas is cornered. Gaza is devastated. Internationally, Hamas is shrinking. The support for Hamas is shrinking, even among the Arab allies. Everybody's sort of pulling back from them. Okay. Iran has its own priorities. Qatar and Egypt are pressing hard. Hamas needs breathing space. A deal like this gives them time to regroup, declare a win, and survive politically. Finally, the regional picture matters. Egypt doesn't want another flood of refugees. They didn't want the first set. I mean, Egypt was saying, don't come here. They're like, don't come here, which ought to be telling. Jordan doesn't want its population inflamed. Gulf states want stability to keep their economies humming. Everyone has an interest in seeing the guns fall silent, even if it's for a short amount of time. Okay, let's get real. Why might this whole thing fall apart again? Because the deal doesn't address the root problem. Hamas remains armed. Israel remains determined to destroy Hamas. And Gaza remains a humanitarian disaster. Israel has said repeatedly, Hamas cannot be allowed to govern Gaza. I think a lot of people forget that Hamas was duly elected to do just that, to govern Gaza. And frankly, they've not been good at it. They've not been good. When I say govern, I mean provide infrastructure, education, healthcare, all that stuff, all that governed stuff. But that's not been their focus. Their focus has been on armed resistance, on destroying Israel. So they've not governed well. Let's not forget that. Hamas has not governed well. That's the core Israeli demand, that Hamas cannot be allowed to govern Gaza. Yet Hamas is still in power. Unless that question is resolved, we're not talking about peace. We're talking about a timeout. Hamas, for its part, has made it clear it will never disarm voluntarily. They're never just going to walk in and go, oh, you're right, we're wrong. Never. Armed resistance is its identity. Any deal that pretends Hamas will lay down its weapons is just a fantasy. And then there's, of course, trust, or rather the lack of it. These two sides accuse each other of violations every time a deal is signed. One rocket, one shooting, one checkpoint delay, the whole thing just unravels. Spoilers are another problem. Every peace process has them. Militants who want to wreck negotiations by committing violence that forces retaliation. One suicide bombing, one sniper attack, one airstrike that hits civilians, and a ceasefire collapses. And there are plenty of actors inside Gaza, inside Israel, and outside in places like Iran who would love to see this deal fail.
A huge congratulations to Anton and the whole 7 Weeks Coffee team for hitting the amazing milestone of $1 million donated to pregnancy resource centers. I am so proud of you guys. I love 7 Weeks Coffee. You make the best coffee in the world and you support the best cause, and you are so generous and life-giving with your company, helping so many moms and babies in need. I'm so grateful for you guys. Keep up the amazing work, and everybody go buy your 7 Weeks Coffee today and help support the pro-life movement.
Frustrating, right? So what would it take for peace to actually mean something more than a piece of paper? Well, it would take a durable ceasefire, verified by neutral parties with real consequences for violations. It would take international monitors on the ground, maybe from NATO, maybe from Arab states, maybe from both, to actually watch what happens at the crossings and the front lines. It would also take a massive reconstruction effort in Gaza, rebuilding homes, hospitals, water systems, power plants, schools. People without roofs, food, or medicine don't really make good peace partners. It would take a clear decision on who governs Gaza. Is it Hamas? Is it the Palestinian Authority? Is it some hybrid backed by international support? Without a government that both sides can live with, peace has not a chance. And in the long term, it will require dealing with a core issue that has haunted every peace process: borders, refugees, the status of Jerusalem. These are the questions that no one wants to touch because every answer alienates half of your population. But without them, you don't have peace. You have a pause. Now, for a lot of people, this sounds very familiar, right? You know why? Because history keeps repeating. Back, Oslo in the 90s, Camp David, Wee River, the roadmap, even the Abraham Accords in 2021. Each time, headlines shout breakthrough. Each time the ink dries and the guns fire again. Why? Because signing a deal is easy. Living a deal is hard. Paper doesn't build trust. Paper doesn't stop rockets. Paper doesn't bury the dead. These deals tend to follow the same arc: jubilation, cautious hope, a fragile truce, then collapse under the weight of mistrust and violence. Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching the show this morning. Listen, I have something that I want you to have that we've been working on. It's a Fight Back Media guide to winning online for the 2026 midterms. When you're online trying to convince, the left that their viewpoint and their mindset is complete booty, because it is, it's trash. But you want to do it in a way that actually works, and that we're not just preaching to the choir. Please go to our website, fightbackmedia.com, and download this guide. It's full of really helpful, practical situations. It's a guide that you can share with your friends. You can print it out. It has quizzes and the test. So I really want you to understand the material, and I want to upgrade our presence online, our conservative presence online. So go to fightbackmedia.com, and download your Fight Back Media Guide to Winning Online in 2026. All right, so what happens next? Best case scenario, 3 years from now, the ceasefire holds. I know that's crazy, right? Aid flows, Gaza starts to rebuild, a new Palestinian leadership emerges that can negotiate credibly. Israel sees security improve, international mediators create momentum. Maybe we inch towards something that's a real peace framework. Worst case, 3 months from now, a rocket is fired. Israel would respond immediately with an airstrike. Hamas will retaliate. The ceasefire collapses. The hostages are back in the headline. Aid dries up, and we're right back where we were in March, only with more graves dug in the meantime. Thanks so much for watching. We appreciate you. Listen, I have something that I want you to have. You can go to our website and you can buy something, our t-shirt that says, "No, we will not comply." Because every time we comply, we take that option away from our children. And we take that option of freedom and liberty away from our grandchildren. Go to the fightbackmedia.com website and click on the t-shirt that says, "No, we will not comply." And underneath it, it has the nocompliancemovie.com website. And every single shirt that we sell, we'll send 50% of that sale to my friend Chris Hand Hall so they can produce the next movie. And whatever work they're doing, we will send 50% of the proceeds to my friend Chris Hand Hall. So go to fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, and click on the "No, we will not comply" t-shirt. Now, so many people who are watching at this point are wondering, what does it matter to us sitting here? Why does this matter to you sitting here in the United States? Unfortunately, because billions of your tax dollars are tied up in this conflict. Because American presidents stake political capital on these types of deals. Because instability in the Middle East affects oil prices, trade, and the global economy. And because whether we like it or not, America is seen as a guarantor. If the deal fails, America gets blamed. If it succeeds, America can take credit. For Trump, this deal is political gold. Maybe. For America, it's another test of whether we can still play the role of global peacemaker. For the world, it's another reminder that the word peace in the Middle East is always written in pencil. So here's the truth. Peace is easy to sign and hard to live. This, quote, first phase of a deal is being celebrated. But history tells us not to exhale yet. The guns may be quieter tomorrow, but unless deeper changes happen, they'll be loud again. Still, for the families waiting for hostages to come home, for the kids in Gaza hospitals who might get medicine tomorrow, for the mothers in Israel who can sleep knowing their sons aren't at the front tonight, even a pause is something. And that's where we're going to leave it right now. A peace deal has been signed. The question is, will it last? This has been the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.